This is Fortnite on a $100 monitor, and this is Fortnite on a $1,000 monitor. In this video, I tested them both to compare a budget monitor versus a premium monitor. And despite the $900 price difference, it might actually be more similar than you would think. First, I went to unbox both monitors, and I think my table is bent, but it's the only one I have, so don't say nothing about it. Anyways, for a little over $100, this is what you can get on a monitor in 2024, and it's honestly quite impressive. It has an IPS panel, which is really decent for colors, a 1 millisecond response time, which is basically the standard now for gaming, and a 180 hertz refresh rate. And to me, that's huge. The last time I bought a $100 monitor, the best refresh rate I could get was only 60 hertz. So to have over 3 times my old $100 monitor's refresh rate for almost the exact same price is really good. And out of the box, it didn't look cheap either. It was 24 inches like most gaming monitors, wasn't too bulky, and had all the important stuff. If I was a smart man, I would have stopped right there, because that just sounds like a really solid option for someone who's just looking for a good monitor to buy. And honestly, I should have, because I definitely underestimated the size of the $1,000 monitor. I am probably literally the weakest person you know, especially for doing things that require strength. I was just lucky enough to have had this delivered to me, because I barely even got into my apartment, and then when I tried to unbox it later, it literally wouldn't even fit in the frame or on the table. This is another MSI monitor. It's 100% the heaviest one. I also believe it's the most expensive one, costing over $1,000 at almost 50 inches wide. You literally can't get any better than this. Right away, you can see it has updated OLED technology, which is currently the best display for colors right now. And that also affects the response time, making it way closer to 0 at 0.03 milliseconds. Basically meaning that there is almost zero delay. Now, I don't have a problem with a lower response rate. It's actually great, but I also think I wouldn't notice a difference below 1 millisecond. I guess it just didn't really impress me. It just seems like something that's nicer to have, but I was definitely counting on it to make a difference. And lastly, when you compare the refresh rate to the $100 monitor, you can see that you only get 144 hertz with this one. But let me explain real quick. It's not too much of a difference when you take into account that the $100 180 hertz monitor is 1080p Full HD, and the $1,000 144 hertz monitor is a 1440p double quad HD, or basically just an Ultra 2K. It makes perfect sense, and you can see why you're capped at 144 frames per second. Anyways, there isn't that much more to compare in terms of unboxings besides the specs. The $100 monitor came with just enough ports and accessories, and the $1,000 monitor came with even more ports and accessories. And after basically ruining my apartment now, I started to build both monitors so I could test them out. The building process for all monitors is very simple if you've built a monitor before. You don't even need instructions. You're just basically putting the monitor on the stand and securing it with the screws provided. You can also ditch the stock monitor stand as another option and get a universal monitor mount. But for the sake of testing everything, I kind of just made a setup from scratch and only used what came in both boxes. After building the first monitor, I got right to testing it, and it was actually insane. 180 frames per second is really smooth. I literally have been playing on 240 FPS for years. Dropping a little bit to 180, I promise you, I couldn't tell the difference at all. Now, the colors were very dull, but that's also because I tried to find some performance settings like 5 minutes before I started playing, which probably didn't even matter. But if I didn't mess with anything, someone could probably replace this $100 monitor with my main gaming monitor, and I probably wouldn't even notice. It's that good. But that's about all I can do. Yeah, It's a nice monitor, but we all know how monitors work. It's impressive, but I wanted to see what all the best monitor can do that all the other regular monitors can't. Building the $1,000 monitor, like I said earlier, was also very simple. Still heavy, but simple. Also, I always forget things that don't really stand out to me when I do reviews because I went the whole night without comparing the RGB, adjustability, or anything that might be kind of important to someone that's actually interested in buying a gaming monitor. For example, there are no external speakers on either monitors. There is an aux port for your headphones on both monitors, but no speakers. I find that completely irrelevant to me because if I'm gaming, I'm using the headset that's connected to my PC 100% of the time. But now that I think about it, there might actually be people out there that need a monitor with external speakers. Anyways, turning on the $1,000 monitor for the first time, I was completely blown away. I've never seen my desktop this huge before. Also, I've low-key wanted an ultra-wide monitor for like 5 years now, ever since Fortnite banned custom or stretch resolutions, because after the ban, the ultra-wide monitor was the only solution to having more peripheral vision in Fortnite, and for an obvious reason. These monitors are particularly good at helping you when you need to see more. It almost directly relates to a setting called field of vision or FOV. And if you're a PC player like me and you know about this setting, you know exactly what I'm talking about and how important it is. But Fortnite also kind of banned ultra-wide monitors too, and not just Fortnite. Pretty much any competitive game. Now, it's pretty obvious that if you were allowed to compete with something like this, that it would make competing totally unfair. A lot of esports would just be paid to win, and budget gamers would clearly be handicapped, so you can't compete. And also, even with the amazing colors this monitor has, entertainment is basically exactly the same as it would be on a regular one. But it's not the monitor's fault at all. It just seems like after all these years that it's still ahead of its time, even with something like the response rate, which sounds really good on paper, but to me, you just can't really tell the difference unless you're doing something to where the specific feature that you're using can be showcased. So, with that being said, this monitor is impossible to be for everyone. In my opinion, you would have to buy this monitor for very specific reasons. Maybe you want to play some really good solo games and experience it in ultra wide. Or maybe you're a video editor and you deal with insane timelines. Or maybe you just have the money. But if you can't find a reason to specifically use an ultra wide monitor, then you're probably better off just not using an ultra wide monitor at all. So, in my honest opinion, I see the $100 monitor being 100% the better option for most people. But for me, I don't need anything but an entertainment.